Good morning. Yesterday we started a new devotion series, being Christmas time, about the wise men. But more importantly, we focused on the aspect of the star. Now we always get the idea from the Christmas story and the pageantry and all of the traditions that there were three wise men, not necessarily true. And these three wise men came to the stable, definitely not true. And these three wise men, not true, went to the stable, not true, because they followed a star all the way there, not true again. And so we looked at these things and we established the fact that these wise men came probably about the time that Jesus obviously was under 2 years of age, based upon the scriptures and what Herod decreed, and that they came to a house, not a stable, where they found the young child, not a baby. And we don't know how many there were, other than we know there was more than one. But we noticed also in our study yesterday morning that they saw the star in the east, and then they began to follow, but the star disappeared. They were so astonished when they left Herod, and they said, and all of a sudden, lo, the star appeared, and then it led them to where Jesus was. But they traveled over 1,500 miles without a star. The majority of this story happened without a star. And I presented the question yesterday, what are you going to do when your star disappears? In other words, what are you going to do when, you begin your journey on the calling of God and you know the scriptures and you have faith and then you hit this time when the star's not there? I mean, they traveled a long way without a star, and I'm just a human being that probably would have been like they were and said, are you sure? Is this what we're supposed to be doing? Where'd the star go? And so I want to consider some things here about this week. I present to you, number one, we saw some misconceptions about the wise men, but number two, I want you to consider some men who traveled without a star. Now we'll get back to the wise men, but I just want you to see this is nothing new. In the Bible is filled with men who traveled without a star. You think of the story of Joseph. In Genesis chapter number 37, Joseph, of course, he had these dreams when he was a young man, that all these sheaves bowed to him. He had another dream where, again, there was the sun, the moon, and the stars, and they all bowed to him. And it was prophecy, and he understood it, and so did his brothers, that one day he would rule over them, and they would bow before him. Well, they didn't like it. They sold him as a slave. He's taken as a slave down. He's made a servant. He still only does right and lives right, but he's lied about. He's thrown into prison. Still in prison, he does right, and he tries to continually do what's right, but people forget about him, and he stays there for a long time. And the fact is this, that all those years in Egypt, he didn't have any more dreams. All those years in Egypt, no one was bowing down to him. Yet he was faithful, and God would do with Joseph what he promised he would do because Joseph had faith. Years later, God fulfilled those dreams and those promises, as all of his brothers and his father was bowing down before him as he was second in command of the mightiest nation upon the face of the earth. And Joseph was able to look at them and say, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it for good. But for a long time, Joseph had to travel without a star. Abraham was promised earlier in the book of Genesis that he would be the father of a great nation. Even before he left Ur there, he was promised that he would have so many children, they would be as the stars in the sky. He got to be 100 years old and he didn't have a child. That's a lot of years to wander without any stars. Still he went forward. Still he tried to do what was right. Still he went, and not that he was perfect, but he went and had faith in God. He was justified because of that faith. But for many years he had to travel without one star. Yet he remained faithful. I thought of someone like Noah. Noah was told that it was going to rain and God was going to destroy the earth. And while we always think about him building the ark and the animals coming and the rains beginning to fall, do you not forget that he built that over a period of 120 years. 120 years of people ridiculing him, mocking him, jokes about him, laughing at him every day, saying, where's the rain? But it never fell. Can you relate today? Have you ever followed God into a ministry and got excited about it only to find yourself exhausted and not much fruit? Have you ever stepped out for God's leading and found yourself in maybe even some doubt and some debt and wondering what good is it doing? I've known many who many times find themselves looking, where's the star? You're excited, but now burdened. You were enthusiastic, but now you're tired. You had visions of what it was going to be, but it just isn't coming to fruit. You've invested in a lot of people to see some turn away. What will you do when you travel without a star?